Revolutionary greetings, comrades. 2024 is going to be an exciting year in the political calendar of South Africa. As you know, elections are going to happen this year. There's no date yet. There are speculations, but there's no date. We will be following closely the election campaign in South Africa. Our interest in this elections is to draw parallels with the elections in Zimbabwe. The ANC as the leader of government and its alliance partners is the former liberation movement in Zimbabwe. We have ZANU-PF, the former liberation movement. So we want to, through this channel, to draw parallels on how two liberation movements conduct elections. We have said previously that there are huge differences between the African National Congress and their alliance partners and the ZANU-PF. And this election is going to provide us a platform to draw those parallels. So in this short video, we want to start looking into the public broadcaster. In Zimbabwe, we have the ZBC or ZTV. In South Africa, we have the SABC. You will know, and of course, the second issue that we have to look into, in Zimbabwe, we have the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. In South Africa, we have the Independent Electoral Commission. In Zimbabwe, the ZBC and the ZEC, they are institutions that are controlled by the ruling party. It's rare to have opposition parties having their rallies covered by ZBC. That is both the TV and the radio. If you see an opposition leader on ZTV or speaking on the radio in Zimbabwe, they will be presented in a bad light. So you will not have in Zimbabwe ZTV going to an opposition rally to simply cover the rally. Whereas in South Africa, the ANC as the governing party, and here we're making this distinction, which we'll explain later on. We're saying ZANU-PF, the ruling party, the ANC, the governing party. The ANC does not control the public broadcaster. You will have all political parties being covered. When they launch their manifestos, the interviews, be it on radio or television, they are given ample space of time or airtime to propagate their political views, which in the main, they will be criticizing the ANC. So the South African public as a platform, not really a platform, but they have an opportunity to listen to all the contesting parties in terms of what they are presenting as opposed in Zimbabwe, where the opposition will then rely on what we term independent media. We've explained what we mean by independent media. But the broadcaster in Zimbabwe, it's pro the ruling party. It propagates the views of the ruling party. So that's the first distinction between ZANU-PF and the ANC. So as the campaigning gathers momentum in South Africa, you will see SABC covering all political parties, something that we never saw in Zimbabwe. Secondly, the issue of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission remains in dispute because it is generally believed that it is in the pockets of ZANU-PF. The commissioners of Zimbabwe Electoral Commission are actually sons, daughters, and relatives of ZANU-PF politicians, whereas in South Africa, the Independent Electoral Commission, it is indeed independent from government. We are not saying it is independent from the state. Again, it's a distinction that we are making, which we'll explain later. It is independent from government. It is independent from the African National Congress. The ANC, unlike ZANU-PF, does not control IEC. IEC makes its decisions. outside the influence of the ANC. Whereas in Zimbabwe, ZEC is influenced in terms of decision making by ZANU-PF. It cannot pronounce an election which is against the ZANU-PF. In South Africa, lot of commentators are saying, let me say, some commentators are saying the ANC will get less than 50% of the vote. Assuming that were to happen, the IEC will not have problems of announcing that result. But in Zimbabwe, ZEC will not. Remember, at some point, it took us about close to 2 months to know the outcome of the presidential results. So these are the two differences as we follow the elections in South Africa. That one, unlike ZANU-PF, the ANC does not control the public broadcaster and the electoral body, whereas in Zimbabwe, ZANU-PF controls the electoral body and the public broadcaster. Please write your comments in the comment section, like this video, subscribe this YouTube channel. If you're on TikTok, please follow us. And we know that you have a lot to say about these elections, so we'll continue talking about these elections until they happen. Otherwise, have a great day. Amandla.